Welcome to Mom's Weighing In. Today we are going to talk about going easy on ourselves.
So this is Felicity, and I'm going to go ahead and do my check-in. I, this week, had a gain, unfortunately, 1.8 pounds. Total, I've still lost 4 pounds, so I haven't gained back what I've lost the first week. I think that the reasons I possibly gained this week have a lot to do with water retention. I still was eating salty foods. I haven't really taken those off the table. And then I totally increased the amount of water that I drink, probably by 200%.
But that's great, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm interested next week. Once my body's used to the water and it's kind of worked its way through, we'll see what that number is. This is a journey. This
Definitely.
isn't a 1 week at a time. So I'm trying not to beat myself up over that.
Good. I lost 2.3 pounds this week, so a total of 7 pounds lost. And the things I did good is I stayed in my blue dots. And things I could do better on is purposeful exercise.
Yes. But you still were reaching some of your step goals.
Yeah, definitely. I went well over yesterday's.
That's good. Yeah, so I also was able to stay in my blue dots all week. So I was surprised by the gain, staying in the blue dots. But like I said, going back and thinking of what I did eat, it was salty, and I drank a lot of water.
So tying in with our episode, did you go easy on yourself when you stepped on the scale?
So the only reason I went easy on myself is knowing that this was the episode coming up. I thought, oh, how hypocritical of me to be like, oh, I'm such a failure. This is only week 2. I should still be losing weight. I tried so hard, and really beat myself up when I knew I was going to talk about going easy on myself. So it was really this conscious decision to not beat myself up.
I think at the beginning it has to be a conscious decision. We're so used to beating ourselves up, that's our natural reaction for everything. So, yes, we're telling you to do better, but we're working on it too. We're not perfect.
Yes, and you're right. I had a coach with Weight Watchers tell me, for every negative thought you have about yourself, you have to give yourself 10 positive thoughts. And I've heard it 1 to 5, I've heard it 1 to 10.
The more research they do, the higher the number goes.
Wow, so that's how one negative thought will impact you, is by 10 times as much as a positive thought.
At least.
That's insane. Because how many times a day do you give yourself some kind of self-criticism?
Almost every time I do something, there's some thought that I could have done better.
Yeah, I don't know if it's women, if we've made ourselves have this kind of standard, if it's our culture. I'm not sure why, but I'm the same way. Oh, I could have been better at cleaning my house.
Yeah.
I could have.
This morning I knew you were coming over early, 9 o'clock, so not super early, but I set my alarm and was going to get up and clean my house and be all ready, and everything was going to be perfect and ready to go. I woke up early, and instead I cuddled with Anton and just spent my time with him, and I thought, man, I did not do good. My house is dirty. I'm not dressed, but I got to spend the time with Anton. I have to see the positive that he enjoyed that. He got extra time just one-on-one while the other boys were asleep. So,
Yeah.
look for the positive because it's usually there. Just because you didn't do what you thought you needed to do doesn't mean you were in the wrong.
Well, and your house being a mess or whatever it was is because, oh, you have been taking care of your kids, or you've been spending more time with them and giving them more attention, and you're busy. You have a toddler and a baby, which you probably can hear in the background. And so it's not like your life is just, oh, I'm just home doing nothing and I'm being lazy. That's not the case. You are so busy.
In fact, lately I've been having a lot of extra dishes because I haven't been going out to eat as much.
Yes.
So every time I'm like, man, my kitchen's a mess, I'm like, but that's okay because we've eaten at home.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying hard to refocus my mind.
So my youngest, he had a birthday yesterday, and in the morning I gave him the option to go to his favorite restaurant for breakfast, or we could stay home and I could make eggs or whatever. And he wanted to stay home. And all day he just wanted to stay home. We ended up going out and trying to accomplish a couple of things, but he just wanted to stay home. We can just eat at home. He's always reminding me of that. So that is a positive that you are eating at home more, and your kids I think they like it more. because it's more time that they get to interact with you in the kitchen. They get to sit down and have a conversation with you. How often when we grab fast food, and this is a big source of mom guilt for me, is fast food. We grab fast food, we hand it back to our kids in the back seat or whatever, and they just scarf it down, we scarf our food down, and we've lost conversation time, we've lost family time, and we've lost an opportunity to teach them to eat healthy. It's a huge source for me that almost every single time we eat fast food, which is common, I feel bad for it.
So we've talked a little bit about mom guilt, but that's definitely something that every mom has, not just with food, but with cleaning your house and spending time with your kids and
currently doing a podcast while you have kids, every single thing. It's like we have something we want to do, but are we doing the thing we want to do? Are we putting ourselves before our kids? And there's always that question and that tension of, is this okay?
I think that's the main form of mom guilt. Am I putting myself before my kids?
Yeah, I agree. I 100%. There's been times where I haven't felt like I could do something like go shopping or buy myself a new pair of pants or whatever it was, because I felt like if I did that, I was taking my time away from my kids. It wasn't even financially, because I think there's definitely that layer too. And I know there's people out there where they're not going to buy themselves something before they buy their kids something because their kids need it more. And even if they've got holes in their shoes, I've known moms who have had holes in their shoes and one pair of jeans who aren't willing to go out and purchase something new for themselves because that would mean that they didn't purchase it for their kids, even though they needed a lot. So we're actually part of a really kind of a cool group right now that kind of helps take that mom guilt away. It's a group on Facebook which gifts each other off of Amazon wish lists. And it's so nice when I have a little bit of extra or some time or whatever to go through someone's list and be like, I can gift this person. And it's going to be something that gets to be just about the mom, and they don't have to feel guilty for it. Exactly.
You don't mind spending your money on somebody else, but it's hard to spend it on you.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't have the mom guilt, you don't understand this group. My sister-in-law's in the group with us, and he told her, just go buy yourself everything on the list that you want, and don't do this stupid group. What's the point of buying things for people you don't know when we have the money and you can buy yourself these things? She's like, you don't understand. It has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with being selfish, getting it for myself.
Yeah, because even when you have the money, there's always something else that money could be being spent on when it comes to your kids. Or, like there's always that thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have done this, or I should have done this. Or even if it's more, even if your kids are spoiled and they have everything, you can think, oh, I could have bought this more or this something, money is a huge source of mom guilt, and spending it on ourselves and time, money and time. So we have guilt for what we eat and our food, and I think that can create the cycle of gaining. It can give us the cycle of the negative sense of self-esteem.
So you eat something you shouldn't have, too much points, too many calories, or just plain old unhealthy, and then you start to beat yourself up and think, well, I already messed up today, so I'm just gonna not worry about tracking today. I'm not gonna focus on eating healthy. I'm just gonna eat whatever I want because I've already messed up. I can't go back. And that is a horrible way to look at it. You have a piece of chocolate cake, so then you eat a whole chocolate cake.
Oh yeah. I would always say if I start my morning off bad, my whole day's ruined, because if I would go get fast food, if I go get McDonald's or something for breakfast, then pretty soon I already had McDonald's for breakfast, so I might as well have something that I want for lunch, or I might as well have this ice cream. You just get this thought in your process of like this thought process of, oh, I already ruined it for myself, so I'm not gonna try. And that's a really hard cycle to break.
Yeah, and what we really need to do is, okay, I had a piece of chocolate cake. That's okay. I'm gonna track it, and then I'm gonna eat better next time. And then go eat vegetables or fruit, or even a sandwich, just something better than a chocolate cake, and make up for it for the rest of the day. And you don't have to be perfect to succeed.
No, I do better when I save those treats for the end of the day, because I will give myself that cycle of like, well, I already had cake today and I really don't want to track it. But if I'm like, oh, I've got 20 points left at the end of the day, I can have a piece of cake and a treat. You know, I can have a treat or whatever because I ate really good all day. Then it's like a reward. I don't know why I connect food with rewards, but we are definitely going to have to talk about that on another episode because it is massive for me.
100%. And I find myself teaching that to my kids as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. We will
We'll
talk
talk
about
about
that.
Okay, so you cannot sustain perfection. That hits deep with me. Not only with eating, but with keeping my house clean and everything I do. If you try, you just fell and beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You were telling me earlier about 80-20.
Okay, yeah, so there's this idea of 80-20. So if you are a rock star 80% of the time and you only fail 20% of the time, you're doing pretty great and your successes are going to outweigh your fails. So when we're talking about food, if 80% of the week you have ate really, really well, that 20%, that piece of cake, that, you know, pasta meal you had, those breadsticks, whatever it was, is really not going to work against you, because that 80% of eating salads and staying in your points and having blue dots, that's going to work for you way more than that little 20% is.
And if you do the 80-20, the 20% will be beneficial because you've let yourself have that treat you wanted, giving yourself a break.
Yes. We I used to watch Biggest Loser, and one of the things that one of the coaches on Biggest Loser always said was give yourself a cheat meal every single week. And that kind of falls in that 80-20. That one meal where you don't think about what that meal is going to be. You know, like you don't think about like, oh, this is so many calories or this is so many. And as you lose weight, that meal is probably going to get smaller naturally, because good luck trying to eat an entire pizza by yourself after you've been eating really healthy for months.
It's true.
You can't do it. It makes you sick.
Mm-hmm.
So what that meal is going to change over time.
And what you want and crave changes over time too. You start to crave the healthy things.
That's true. I was eating a veggie tray and I was just eating the snap peas, and I was thinking, oh, these are so good. I forgot how good these are. But I remember just a couple months ago having a snap pea, and maybe they just weren't in season or whatever it was, but it didn't taste as good. But now as I've have ate more fruits and vegetables, I want more fruits and vegetables. That's what tastes good. I like what you were saying though, Whitney, about the cannot sustain perfection. It reminds me of Instagram and social media. So many people have this perfect view of their lives on social media, and if you only were to look at their social media accounts, you'd think, oh my goodness, their life is wonderful. They post every time they go for a run, and you know, so they're super healthy. You're thinking, oh, look at those meals they make their family, those are perfect. And what it's not showing is the times they've ran to McDonald's and grabbed their kids a Happy Meal because they ran out of time. It's not showing the days where their house is exploding dirty and they had to clear off the table just to have one spot that didn't look dirty to put their Instagram post or whatever. And I know from personal experience of running a business through Instagram that it's really easy to make it look all put together when everything else is falling apart. But it's really easy to forget that everybody does that. Nobody has these perfect lives. Nobody does.
We have a friend who uses her social media purely to let people know that life's not perfect. And she's my favorite person to follow. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I do not.
She's got 2 little boys, and her posts are always hilarious.
Yes, okay, yes.
You know who I'm talking about.
I just didn't know that was her goal on her social media. She's just very real.
I don't know that she's ever said that, but it really comes across to me that way. Like, it's okay that your life's not perfect, because nobody's is.
Yeah, and she really has this kind of heart where she embraces when people have failures and lets them know that they're still doing a good job. It is wonderful to watch her post. I do know who you are.
So you can be real, and everyone will still enjoy your social media. You don't
Even
need
more.
to be fake.
Yeah.
But that's hard to put out your real life, your mistakes, your clutter.
And I think there is this worry that if I'm showing my problems, my clutter, my whatever, I don't want people to pity me. I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm sorry, or like, you don't want that negative attention either. But there is a way to be sincere without asking for
help.
My life is woe is me, you know?
Definitely.
So I had a plateau where I hadn't lost for a couple of weeks at all. And I just kind of was frustrated and had been really stressed about measuring every little thing out, from the dressings I would use to how much chicken I was putting on, like to perfection, measuring everything. Even like salad that was 0 points, lettuce, I had 2 cups of lettuce so that I knew why I wasn't losing. And I, like, by the 3rd week, I had just given up. And I remember having like a huge hamburger and french fries and like just this massive cheat meal, maybe even twice in the week where I had these, whatever I wanted to eat. And I got to weigh in, I'm like, oh, I'm going to gain this week. At least I'm not on a plateau anymore. And I'd kind of gotten over that. And I got on the scale and I had lost like 8 pounds. It finally all caught up on me. And I really think the reason why was I wasn't stressed. I wasn't being perfect with every little thing that I ate.
I was giving yourself a break.
Yeah. And I was easier on myself. Beating myself up over everything only caused the stress to go up, which made it almost impossible to lose that weight that I needed to lose.
So Weight Watchers and several other diets give you the option to have leeway. They want you to be easy on yourself. Some of the ways they do that is weekly points, so that you can have that cheat meal, or exercise points.
Yeah, so one of the weekly, like with weekly points, you can set it so it's either you use your weeklies first or you use your activity points first. And I like to have mine set as activity points first. When I use my activity points first, I'm like, oh, I earned that cupcake. I earned that cookie, instead of feeling like it's just like, oh, I'm going over, which I know people who use every single point they have. I've even seen where it's a challenge to eat everything. And if you take the challenge and you eat all of your points and see what happens that next week. And I've seen people who have big losses on those weeks where they've challenged to eat every single one of your points for the week. So it still works even with using every single point.
That'd be an interesting challenge to do.
Yeah.
You should try it.
Let's try it on like week 4 or 5.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah.
Not ready for that right now.
Yeah. You were telling me earlier about Harrison.
Yeah, so my brother-in-law is also doing Weight Watchers, and he called me up and he was mad. He said, you told me I could get points for working out, and I could use those points for extra food. And later on, my sister told me he hasn't gone over his points at all, let alone used most of his weeklies. So I don't know why he's so stressed, but he had that mindset. He wanted to earn them and use them just like you. And I helped him fix it, and since then he's been happy.
Yeah, and I had an aunt who did the calories in, calories out. So she was really big on like keeping up with all your calories, and she lost a significant amount of weight, making sure that if she ate something, she worked out to make up for it. Now, I think sometimes we just need to, again, go easy on ourselves. It's okay if you didn't work out and you still ate that cookie. It's okay every once in a while for that to happen. I think where we get in the danger zone, where you become, in the unhealthy range like me, is when I sit down and eat the whole box of Oreos without thought, without accountability.
Or on the other end, there's a danger zone where you can't eat because you haven't worked out. You have to find the happy medium.
Yeah, because we cannot obtain that perfection. We cannot sustain that perfection, like you were saying before.
Because we also have to remember that everyone is different. Everyone has different paths and experiences, and it's okay.
Yeah, there's no one normal life. That doesn't exist. My husband loves Tombstone, and Doc Holliday in Tombstone says that there is no normal life, there's just life. And he quotes that to me all the time because we have had anything but a normal life. And it's true. It's just life. And then we'll get to the end of our life and we'll have progressed and made improvements and bettered ourselves. And that's all we can do. There's a quote from the leader of the Latter-day Saints. He's President Russell M. Nelson. He says, "Be patient with yourself. Perfection comes not in this life, but in the next life. Don't demand things that are unreasonable, but demand of yourself improvement. As you let the Lord help you through that, he will make the difference." So if we don't demand ourselves to be perfect, but we demand that we improve, eventually we're going to reach a perfect state. We know it's not going to be here, but eventually it is going to happen, and we are always going to be better. Be a little better today than you were yesterday. And that's all we can ask for.
And that's a lot easier mindset too. I'm just trying to improve today, not I'm trying to be perfect today.
Exactly. Today I'm going to track all my points because I didn't yesterday, and that's an improvement today. Even if I don't stay in my healthy range, I made an improvement. My husband has another thing. He says 1 day, 1 life, and 1 change. So you make 1 change every day to have 1 better life. And so if that's taking a walk, and then the next day you take a walk and you drink more water, and eventually you've created these healthy habits 1 small thing at a time. And you're not looking at it as, I need to do this, listing off 20 things until you're overwhelmed, because guess what? We all have 20 things we can improve on.
But then later on, if you add 1 thing every day, you can look back and say, look, I'm doing those 20 things without even thinking.
Exactly. There's a program we use for cleaning.
We're just going to bring that up. I have been working on those steps, and one of them is making your bed. And I just kind of felt like it was pointless. My bed gets messed up anyways. What does it matter? No one sees my room. But I've been doing it lately without thinking about it. My kids have been helping me and think it's the funnest thing ever. It's put a better mood in our house, and it does give us a clean place to go.
That's awesome.
And now it's a habit without thinking about it because I just started doing it.
I noticed it today and I was like, that looks so nice. And
I've actually gotten several compliments about it, and I didn't think anyone would ever notice. So.
And I know my bed is not made. My bed is never made. That's the last thing that I would like. If I know I'm going to have a house full of people, the last thing I'm going to do is make my bed. But it changes the whole perspective for you said. Mm-hmm. And that's wonderful. And I should challenge myself to do that improvement. There's a lot of things we can challenge ourselves to do in getting organized. So much so that we're going to talk about it next week. Like we said, we've been doing a program for cleaning for a little while now, off and on. We've also both had some different experiences with chore charts and
reward systems.
And then we're also probably going to talk about organizing our food, since that is a big deal with losing weight, is having meal prep and things like that. So join us next week for that.
Yep, we'll see you next week on Getting Organized.